Hello everyone and welcome back guys to more GT Sport, where today we're here back, actually not for the 2020 Manufacturers Series. This is just back doing some of the daily races, and this week out was quite a lethal combo, I think it is safe to say. It's time for the Group 3s at Willow Springs. Now this track is an okay track. The surroundings, on the other hand, are not so fun on GT Sport. If you put a wheel off the road, you are off to, as Super GT referred to it, the Shadow Realm. And today we're going to find out just how often I will visit the Shadow Realm in this video. Now, at the moment, I sort of want to try and get into a bit more GT Sport. I'm right on the cusp of my A license. I'm sat at like 27,000 driver racing at the moment, so I'm really hoping over the next few races and videos I can try and grind out and get back up into A, so I can obviously try and get some more points in the Manufacturers Series as well. But yeah, this was my first race then of the day here at Willow Springs. I've opted with the Audi for this one. Not too sure why. I didn't have any particular reason, in all honesty. I know the Audi is always quite a competitive car in Group 3. It turns out, as you'll see over the course of the video, it was very much the FG1, I think it is, the Peugeot, and the Toyota that were the cars to beat around this circuit. So we'll wait and see as to how that goes. But yeah, already on the opening lap of this first race, we picked up a couple of spots there. We have one guy that we got round in there. We've gone round the outside of one of the Peugeots as well. A big amount of contact actually between myself and the Peugeot there. I think they both got a bit loose and ended up going in towards each other at the same time there. So yeah, 3 places already made up on the opening lap of this race. You can see a couple of people already with penalties, as well as you can see just up the road one of the new Aston Martin DBR9s as well in this race. I'm probably going to try and do a couple of races in that car quite soon. Someone has visited the Shadow Realm on the outside there. They have completely gone and we may never see them again here at Willow Springs. So on that opening lap though, we've made up 5, make that 6 places, as a couple of people had to serve penalties on the run down towards Turn 1 there. And the Audi, you can see on the outside, he is going to make a bit of a mistake through that first corner, and we're going to be side by side as we head up the hill there, but we haven't been able to get right around the outside of him as well. So we're up 7 places in just over a lap here, so certainly, yeah, quite a strong opening lap to this race here, so I will take that quite happily there as we get a little bit loose trying to get the car back down into second gear here. And yeah, this was the new Aston that I was talking about, as you can see, as we reach the top of the hill there. Actually, I think was originally a GT2 car, GT1, I think back in the day, the old DBR as well. So it's clearly been down-tuned to race in this, but it's still, just based on this race alone, looked very quick down the straights. But it's not like a couple of the older cars we saw come into GT Sport. I remember the Ford GT and the McLaren F1 were both notorious for being quite overpowered when they originally came into the Group 3 class, and obviously it is such a fine balance to find with these cars. There's definitely a couple of very strong choices, but generally speaking, there's quite a few cars that are somewhat competitive on this game. But yeah, the Aston struggles a bit through the corners. I could already tell just by following this guy, but is very quick down the straights here. So it's kind of the same sort of story as you've seen from the McLaren and the Ford back many moons ago now at this point there. But we get up the inside as we head through turn 2. I get very loose though, actually, on the sand on the inside there. So unfortunately the DBR has to actually get out of the power there, as we're a bit all over the road as we head up towards the top of the hill. But yeah, we've made up 8 places already in just over 2 laps of this race. And unfortunately, we'd be sort of sat in a bit of no man's land between there and towards the end of the race. Although with 1 lap to go here, you can see the Audi, and I think that's a Renault, getting very close together as we head down in towards the final few corners of the race. This final corner is so difficult to try and get right there. But through the final corner we go. Unfortunately, there wouldn't quite be the chaos I was hoping between the pair of them there, but we do get a really good run as we head down towards the finish line there. Someone else was serving their penalty, and that was very close between all 4 of us in the end there. But we do come through for P6 at the end of the first race there, so quite a bit of driver rating picked up on me. We were the number 14 car in that race, so yeah, quite a bit of rating from the first race of the day there. So yeah, really happy with that one. But yeah, it was an FT-1, sorry, Vision GT that was the car to beat there. The Peugeot as well right with it. So a couple of very strong choices as well. But I mean, that Luca 83 guy, I'm pretty certain was second on the leaderboards. So very, very competitive. That first race had a really, really wide sort of driver rating spread. The second one, though, was all as, well, BS drivers at the end of the day. I'm a B license S safety rating driver, so it's all BS in this lobby as well here. But yeah, we get ready though for the second race of the day, this time out starting in third place here. So hopefully we can try and get a podium in this one, try and hold on to our grid position here and improve my qualifying time. We were getting towards the 111s here. It does take me a few laps to get back up to pace. And generally, I've noticed on GT Sport, I like to do one race as well. Just sort of learning where a lot of quicker people are braking, where I'm losing a lot of time and everything like that. And then normally, as we get ready for our second or third race, I can actually find quite a bit of time for qualifying, which is obviously nice. You know, you want to be continually improving on this game, trying to find new little things, trying to work out what you can do, what you can't. Everything like that as we head towards the top of the hill on lap 1 here. We had a Russian in the lead in the Toyota there with a Renault RS01 as well, just behind him here. So hopefully we can try and stick with these guys. But this was almost our first trip to the Shadow Realm. They're getting very, very loose. And you can see we were very lucky actually not to get completely spat off the road there. If that had been, sort of highest speed, that's pretty much one of the only corners that if you make a mistake like that, you might just about be able to get away with it there. But we lose a couple of places and a couple of seconds out of it nonetheless though. But I'd much rather that than spend the rest of our evening exploring Willow Springs and what the desert has to offer there. A bit aggressive at the final corner with the Audi just in front of us there. That was actually, I think, the only guy that we had from race 1 there. Someone has unfortunately entered into the pit lane there. We've got another RS01 just up in front of us here. It doesn't get a particularly good run through turn 1 here. So second time in this race, actually, well, second time in this video even, I should say. We're going to try and have a look right around the outside of someone else as we head through turn 2 there. It's not the most difficult move in the world, I'll be honest, or at least on these guys it wasn't. But yeah, we do make the move work back around the outside there, as it appears that the Brit and the Russian up the road there are already getting very, very aggressive with each other already in this race. So that actually allowed me, as you can see, heading on towards the end of lap 3 to close back up this gap to the pair of them here. And you can see both of them, the Renault and the Toyota, not the best cars at top-end speed, so they were sort of slowing each other up there, and you can see very, very aggressive by the Russian there. And the Renault, he is now a member of the Shadow Realm. A moment of silence for our fallen soldier in the race there as well. But you can see this Russian, been very, very aggressive so far in this race. And this guy, is he worse than MOMOZ? Let's find out. We'll have a look at the facts over the course of this video. He didn't completely squeeze me off the road through turn 1. The Spaniard just behind us as well, once again in that Audi, just staying in contact as well, as you can see as we head up the hill there. But yeah, the Toyota, a very, very good car down through the corners here. The Audi isn't bad by any stretch through the corners, but definitely its strength lies in comparison to the Toyota in the straight line speed department. But yeah, you can see heading towards right at the top of the hill here, the Toyota just struggling a bit with the understeer. It's a very odd car to drive, that Toyota as well. It's definitely quick once you've mastered it. Difficult to... No, sorry, yeah, I don't know, really. It's difficult to learn, difficult to master. That's not quite how the saying goes. But yeah, that is the story of the Toyota. It's deadly once you've got to grips with it, but getting to grips with it is much, much more difficult than you would probably think on the face of it here. But you can see down in towards the final couple of corners then of lap 4 here, just trying to experiment, take a bit of a wider line through the final corner. We almost go into the Shadow Realm there, but we live to fight another day at the moment. No idea what happened to the Spaniard as well after that. He just completely fell off the face of the earth. I don't know if he rage quit, disconnected, or what. But yeah, he was nowhere to be seen very, very quickly in this race here. But yeah, we're all over the back though of the Russian. Could we find ourselves in a position to take home a race victory here on GT Sport? Obviously we've had a little bit of luck in the Manufacturers Series recently, but I'd quite happily take some daily race victories as well. I'd love to slowly but surely build up my race victories tally as well here on Gran Turismo Sport. But you can see heading towards the top of the hill here once again, the Toyota struggling a bit to get the front end dialed in, just clearly lacking a bit of confidence in that car, as you can see heading back down the hill. We're just going to try and keep it nice and tidy there, get a little bit loose on the tyres, but it's actually opened up a little bit of a better run as we head back down the hill in towards the final couple of corners here. This long, horrible, difficult final right-hander here. You can see we're gaining on the Toyota here. He's really, really trying to play it defensive as we head down in towards the final braking zone there. We're going to try and go slow in, fast out of the final corner there. He clips the curb on the inside there, gets all kinds of loose through the final corner. We get a much better run, and he is going to send us to the shadow round there, and I was understandably not very happy with that one, and it wasn't even a penalty for him as well at the end of the day, so that was rather frustrating. And yeah, is that guy worse than MOMOZ? Perhaps he is MOMOZ on a spare account there, but yeah, not even a penalty in the end. I did message him after the race, a nice, calm, cool and collected message as well there, but yeah, unfortunately not quite the end. So what, we could have snatched that victory right at the last moment there. I mean, we would have, had he not been a complete, well, we won't go there, but yeah, he was not really the end to the second race that we would have wanted here on GT Sport. But it is the FT-1 taking home the second race victory of the night there, and that sort of inspired me, with the Russian punts, everything like that. Perhaps the dizziness of hurtling across the sand at 140 miles an hour sideways had got to me, but I decided that I would actually give the Toyota a bit of a run for the third and final race of the day here, and you can see this is going to be my fastest lap from practice here. I'm tempted actually to do some lap guides on GT Sport if that be something you guys are interested in. It's something that I'd love to give a bit of a go. They're braking just at about the 75 metre board as we head down in towards turn 1. They get down into third gear, then back up into fourth as you head up in towards turn 2. They're back down into fourth gear here, and it's just about managing the throttle, managing the understeer there. Personally, I'm opting to get on the power fairly late, but I'm opening the throttle a bit more throughout the rest of the corner. It's just the line that's working for me. Braking just before the 50 metre board as you head in towards the next left-hander here. Watch for the wheel spin, and then try to get the front end dialed in as you head over the highest point of the lap there. Really, really easy to get a bit of oversteer on the exit as you head down the hill. That's one of the only curbs you can actually use around this circuit there, and trying to open up the corner as best as possible here. It's a bit counterintuitive, or at least for me personally. I was trying to keep the corner just beforehand nice and tidy so you could open up the right-hander, yeah. But it is actually better just to completely open up the left down the hill and then sort of sacrifice your run through the right just a little bit here. Braking just before the 150 metre board in towards the final corner there. Fourth gear, try to spot the curb. Don't run over it though, you've got to avoid it as best as possible there. And that would be my fastest lap here around Willow Springs on 1:11.835 there. So quite happy with that time there. Hopefully it'll be competitive enough to give me a good stand ready for the third and final race of the night here. But yeah, let's wait and see then as to what we can do in this third race of the evening. This time around we start from pole. It was actually a slightly slower qualifying group this time around there. But yeah, hopefully, as I think once again we are the number 4 car here, we can try and gain a bit of driver rating. We're sat at about 28,200 at the moment, so we're only about 1,700 off even, I should say, getting up to our A license here. But unfortunately, the third and final race of the night is normally a good story for ourselves. It often takes me 3 races to really get into it. Unfortunately, changing cars might have not had the same effect this week out. We just run a bit wide as we reach the top of the hill on lap 2 and get a tremendous fishtail and completely send ourselves to the shadow round. But not to worry, Call of Duty Modern Warfare has updated there, so we're going to try and get going once again. Though we're already down pretty much to the rear of the field there. The guy in front's going to get loose and I've no idea what he's in, but we get completely sent once again into yet another wall here on GT Sport there. So that's 1 from me and 2 to me so far in today's video. But I wouldn't give up just yet, and I would return the favour to myself. Just dipping a wheel out on the outside there, and yeah, we go exploring the deserts that surround Willow Springs Raceway here. Never knew there was a tie wall there, and certainly never knew you could go around the outside of it. And yeah, unfortunately, that would basically put pay to my race, but we do even more damage to ourselves right towards the end, because we're 2 for 2 at the moment, and so we just try and make sure that we'd sent ourselves more than we had been sent there. Full on the brakes, trying to get the car slowed down, and we still head towards a very, very big wall at still quite high speed there. I think we could have genuinely vaulted and left the circuit in that situation there, but after all of that, we still managed to set the fastest lap of that race at the end of the day. Down towards the start-finish line, it's a 12:202 to take home the fastest lap there, but a lot of driver rating lost in that final race. Pretty much everything we gained over the rest of the video there. But yeah, that was not an interesting experience once again on GT Sport. Pole position, fastest lap, and 14th in the race was not quite what we wanted there. But thank you all so much for watching this video nonetheless. Do get yourself subscribed, and yeah, hopefully I will see you guys next time where we're hopefully going to be taking some, I think it's Honda Civics around Tokyo.